Good morning, students. Today we will start with new topic or new repertory, that is Boning Hussein's Therapeutic Pocket Book. This repertory, which is written by Dr. Boning Hussein, it was first written it was first published in 1847, and it contains about 126 remedies, which is written by Dr. Boning Hussein. But later on, Dr. T.F. Allen, that is Dr. Timothy Field Allen, he added some medicines in it, and he subtracted some medicines from the original work of Boning Hussein. So he added about 220 remedies in his original work, and he subtracted about 4 remedies from his original work. That is, in original work of Dr. Boning Hussein there are 126 remedies. He subtracted 4 remedies from that work, so there are 122 remedies remain, and he added newly near about 220 remedies. So in American edition, which we are using nowadays, it contains about 342 remedies, and in the American edition, which we are using in our clinic, in our while practicing or while studying, we are using the American edition, and the author of this American edition was Dr. Timothy Field Allen. So many times the question asked in the oral examination, that is, who is the author of BTPB? So the students get confused, because as this is the original work of Boning Hussein, but we are using the repertory which is the American edition of BTPB. We are not using the original work of Boning Hussein, but we are using American edition of BTPB. So the author of American edition of BTPB is Dr. Timothy Field Allen, that is Dr. T.F. Allen. So remember, the author, the BTPB's full name or full form of BTPB is Boning Hussein's Therapeutic Pocket Book, and the author of American edition was T.F. Allen. Though the original work, it is written by Dr. Boning Hussein, but the American edition, in which the many remedies are added, many remedies are subtracted, in this edition the author was T.F. Allen. So first we will go through the life history of Boning Hussein. First, the full name of Boning Hussein was Baron Clemens Maria Franz von Boningusen. The full name of Dr. Boningusen was Baron Clemens Maria Franz von Boningusen. All of you go through this name in your organon of medicine, in your philosophy, while studying the life history of Dr. Boningusen. You all go through, or you all know about the life history of Dr. Boningusen. He was born on 12th March 1785 in the Netherlands in West Germany. So his lifespan is from 1785 to 1864 in the West Germany in Netherlands. He was born on 12th March. He graduated from Dutch University at Groningen with the degree of Doctor of Civil and Criminal Law and joined the court of Louis Napoleon, King of Holland. Then in 1810 he retired from Dutch civil services. In 1812, after his retirement, in 1812 he get married and went to one of his family estate. He advocated much thought to developing state agriculturally because he has a great interest in agriculture, and when he get retired, he returned to his family estate. He think to develop his land agriculturally and become greatly interested in agriculture and allied sciences, especially botany, and formed first agricultural society in western part of Germany. So in the western part of Germany, before Dr. Boningusen, there was not agricultural development in that society. He developed that society, western part of Germany, agriculturally, and afterwards, because of his technical knowledge of agriculture and land values, he offered the position of President of Provincial Court of Justice in the evaluation of land in two provinces. So, due to his knowledge of agriculture, due to his knowledge of land values, he get the position, he get the presidentship of Provincial Court of Justice in evaluation of land. He studied flora of provinces. He studied the flora of different regions, different lands in that area and become one of the best botanists of Europe. And at that time he came in close contact with many other botanists because he has interest in botany and agriculture. So while studying the flora of different provinces, he also came in contact with the many botanists. About 1827, his health deranged and it was declared that he was having the purulent tuberculosis. His health at that time continued to decline. He was not responding to the treatment and he lose all hopes of recovery. When all the hopes of recovery was given up, he was treated without any relief. There is no relief with any kind of treatment, so he lose or he give up all the hopes of recovery. And he was very much frustrated, and at that time he wrote a letter to his close botanical friend, one of well-known botanists, Weil, who was the first homeopathic physician in province of Rhineland and Westphalia. Dr. Boning Hussein, he don't know about the degree, the homeopathic degree of or about the homeopathic knowledge of his botanical friend Dr. Weil, but he was the MD homeopath. He was the homeopathic physician in province of Rhineland and Westphalia. And after reading the letter of Dr. Boning Hussein, Weil was deeply moved and he distressed at the news and he requested Boning Hussein to give details of his symptom. Then after some time he get the reply from Boning Hussein and he sent him pulsatilla. And Boning Hussein taken the medicine accordingly to the directions and follow advice given by Dr. Boning Hussein regarding hygiene measures and diet, as well as he has taken or he repeated the doses of homeopathic medicine as advised by his friend Dr. Weil. And as the days pass, after some days, Dr. Boning Hussein get recovered slowly, gradually. As Boning Hussein's recovery was gradual, but it was constant. Constantly he was recovering. Though it was gradual, but constantly he was feeling better than before, and after some days he was get completely cured from his suffering. This event create an interest in homeopathy and became firm believer. So due to this event, Dr. Boning Hussain, he create an interest in homeopathy and he believed in homeopathy because no other medicine was giving recovery or was giving relief from his symptoms, but only the homeopathic medicine, it was cured Dr. Boning Hussain from his purulent tuberculosis completely. So he believed firmly on homeopathy and he read all the literatures. In 1830 onwards, he came in close contact with Dr. Hahnemann. He read and write on homeopathy. However, his literary work was much hampered by permission to practice freely. Then also the first repertory which get published was of Boning Hussain's repertory. That is the repertory of antisoric medicine with preface by Dr. Hahnemann, and it was, all you know, that it was published in 1832. So the first repertory which get published was Dr. Boning Hussein's repertory, that is repertory of antisoric remedies, which was published in 1832. Then subsequently the repertory of medicines which are not antisoric, or repertory of asoric remedies, which is published in 1835. Then attempt at showing the relative kinship of homeopathic remedies, which is published in 1836, and all these publications combined to form his masterpiece, that is Boning Hussein's therapeutic pocket book, which is published in 1846 in Germany. So in this way, though his literary work was hampered, but the first repertory which get published was Boning Hussein's repertory, that is repertory of antisoric medicine. This is also a common question which is asked in oral examinations as well as for 2 marks in theory also. It was get asked in previous examinations that which repertory get published first in homeopathy? So that was Boning Hussein's repertory of antisoric medicine, which was published in 1832. And in this way, in 1846, this masterpiece of Dr. Boning Hussein, that is Therapeutic Pocket Book, it was published in Germany. Other than these repertories, he wrote many books on homeopathy. He wrote, there was many his literary work was very much it was in quantity and it was available. All his books other than repertories, that was helpful for the practitioners. The Boning Hussein had 7 sons. His eldest son married the adopted daughter of Hahnemann's widow, that is Madame Melanie. Later he lived with Madame Hahnemann and her daughter and had access to Hahnemann's library and manuscripts. So in this way, in short, this is the life history of Dr. Hahnemann. Dr. Boning Hussein. As he write down many books on homeopathy, he gave a lot of contributions to the homeopathy. In 1832, as just now we discussed, the repertory of antisorics. In 1833, the summary view of Chip's Spear of operation of the antisoric remedies and of the chapter Peculiarities as an appendix to the repertory. Then in 1833 only, an attempt at a homeopathy therapy of intermittent fever. 1833, contributions to a knowledge of peculiarities of homeopathic remedies. In 1833 only, homeopathic diet and complete image of disease for non-professional public. In 1834, he write Homeopathy, the Manual of Non-Medical Public. In 1835, his second repertory, that is repertory of the medicines which are not antisoric, or the repertory of asoric remedies. In 1836, attempt at showing a relative kinship of homeopathic remedies. In 1846, his masterpiece, that is Boning Hussein's Therapeutic Pocket Book. In 1849, Brief Instructions for Non-Physicians as to the Prevention and Cure of Cholera. In 1853, the two sides of human body and relationship, homeopathic studies. The same, it was completed in 1853, and one more writing in 1853 was the homeopathic domestic physician in brief therapeutic diagnosis and attempt. Then in 1860, the homeopathic treatment of whooping cough in its various forms. In 1863, the aphorisms of Hippocrates with notes by homeopath. In 1864, attempt of homeopathic therapy of therapeutics of intermittent and other fevers, especially for would-be homeopaths. Second, augmented and revised edition, part 1, the Pyrexy. In this way, other than his repertories, he gave many contributions to homeopathy. He wrote down many books on homeopathy for homeopathic practitioners, which is helpful practically or clinically also. Now, according to Dr. Boning Hussein, the art of physician in taking the case, how the physician should take the case, what should be or how the physician artistically, skillfully take the case to form the totality. So first, according to Dr. Boning Hussein, we should take the proper case. What is proper case? That is, we should take the subjective symptoms, the objective symptoms of the case, and after considering all subjective symptoms, all objective symptoms, the symptoms which are given by the patient, the symptoms which are observed by the physician, after combining all these symptoms, we have to form the totality, the portrait of the disease, the totality of the case. After forming the totality, we should convert the symptoms into rubric. While making the portrait, the modalities that is aggravation and amelioration. They are very much important to find out the simillimum. For proper selection of simillimum, the modalities, that is aggravation and amelioration, they are very much important. Then Dr. Boning-Hussain, he gave more importance to complete each and every symptom. So he said that while taking the case, while collecting the symptoms, we should try to complete each and every symptom. While completing the symptom, we should complete the symptom by its location, sensation, modalities and concomitant. And if in case of in some symptoms, if we cannot get the modalities, then to complete that symptom, we should consider the modality of one part as the whole person's modality. That is, we'll discuss it later on in the philosophical background of Boning-Hussein's therapeutic pocketbook. That is theory of analogy, doctrine of analogy. So Dr. Boning-Hussain, he advised that each and every symptom should be complete, and to complete the incomplete symptom, we should follow the theory of doctrine or doctrine of analogy. According to Dr. Boning-Hussain, every symptom that referred to the part, it may be predicted of the whole man. So we never say that this is the symptom of one part or one organ. We should consider the symptom of one part or one organ as the whole person's or whole body's suffering. The totality is to the disease what the man is to the ego. So we should consider the totality of the disease. We should consider the complete symptoms of the person to get the totality. Then we should divide the symptoms into primary and secondary based on theory of logic. So the division of symptoms into primary and secondary, it is also very much important. Symptoms appear in greatly varying conditions in improving and in sickness. So there may be variations in the symptoms during drug proving and during sickness. So we should consider those variations. There may be we get some variations in the symptoms during drug proving and in real sickness. The symptom of the remedy must correspond perfectly to the symptoms of the disease. So while finding the similimum, when we collect the totality of the case and we have to find out the similimum, then at that time we correspond perfectly the symptom of the disease to the symptom of the remedies, or we should match the remedial totality, the symptoms of the remedy to the symptoms of the or disease symptoms perfectly. Then only we get the proper result, proper cure in the patient. It is the business of physician accurately to observe, faithfully record, and scientifically clarify the phenomena of disease for the purpose of discovering and applying the curative remedy. So it is nothing but the physician's duty is to record, to observe properly, to record faithfully, and scientifically match the portrait of disease to the portrait of remedy, and find out the curative remedy. So this is the first duty of the physician, that he should observe properly, he should note down the symptoms of the patient properly and faithfully, and scientifically he should discover the similimum, he should find out the similimum, which is nothing but a curative remedy. The similimum or the similar remedy, the symptoms of the remedy, it was discovered by assembling under one scheme of all symptoms of many provers. When we are writing down, or when we see there are symptoms which are written under any remedy, then it was that remedy was proved on many persons at the same time at different places and under one scheme, under one fixed criteria. The symptoms were assembled, they are given the gradations according to their severity, how much severity the provers they are giving related to that symptom. In this way, the symptoms of the remedy they are discovered. Then genus epidemicus, it was depends on study of many cases for the purpose of observation which focuses on totality. What is genus epidemicus? When the many persons are suffering from the same disease, then we collect the symptoms, the common symptoms of their suffering, and according to that common disease picture, we should find out the simillimum, that is nothing but genus epidemicus, which depends on study of many cases for the purpose of observation which focus on the totality. Symptom of a remedy as observed in proving can't be found in any given case. So the symptom of the remedy we cannot found in any given case. Disease, what is totality or what is portrait of the disease? When we match the disease symptom to the disease symptom and the symptoms of the remedy, when they are similar, that means we match the totality of the disease with the remedial totality and we get the perfect simillimum. Wish all the world's physician, that is homeopath, will understand each other and also prescribe with safety one and the same remedy for identical morbid symptoms and not for the identical name of disease. Means while prescribing homeopathically, while treating the patient homeopathically, we cannot treat the patient according to the name of the disease, but we treat the patient, we find out the simillimum not according to his disease diagnosis, not according to his symptoms of the disease, but we have to find out the simillimum according to the similar morbid symptoms. So all the world's physician, homeopathic physician, they will understand each other. They should follow the proper principles of homeopathy and prescribe with safety one and the same remedy for identical morbid symptom and not for identical morbid disease. We cannot treat, we cannot prescribe according to identical morbid condition, identical disease diagnosis, but we should prescribe according to the similar symptom similarity according to the similar morbid symptoms. So in this way, which things the physician should follow while taking the case, this was given by Dr. Boning Hussain, that we have to collect all the symptoms properly as a complete symptom. If some symptoms they are incomplete, then we have to complete it according to doctrine of analogy. Then we complete, or we form the totality, we form the portrait of the disease with the help of subjective and objective symptoms. And the most important thing is, we are not going to prescribe according to disease diagnosis, according to the name of the disease, but we are going to prescribe according to the symptom similarity, according to the similarity between the symptoms of the patient and symptoms of the provers. So this is the most important thing all the homeopathic physicians should remember while taking the case. Thank you.